let's go to Washington, where the World Bank IMF meetings continuing. The head of the IMF, Kristalina Georgieva, today outlined some policy agenda or pathways for global leaders who are trying to navigate the bumpy highways of challenging geopolitical, social, economic, and climate crisis. The IMF chief was speaking at the week-long spring meetings of the IMF and the World Bank in Washington.
We are presenting our global policy agenda, focusing on three priorities. First, rebuilding fiscal buffers. We have long advocated that while central banks pursue return of inflation to target, they can use some help from the fiscal side. Now, fiscal restraint is becoming even more important on its own right, because fiscal capacity is exhausted in most countries, and debt is dangerously up. Last year, global public debt edged up to 93% of GDP. This is some 9 percentage points above the pre-pandemic level. Debt service is also more expensive as interest rates have increased. In a world where crises keep coming, countries must urgently build fiscal resilience to be prepared for the next shock. As hard as it is, when still part of the population needs support and half of the world is going to the polls, the time has come to adopt medium-term frameworks for fiscal consolidation. We recognize one size does not fit all. The pace and speed of consolidation will vary depending on country circumstances. So will also the balance between mobilizing revenue and improving spending efficiency. What is very important is not to forget the burden should not fall on the most vulnerable people. The second priority, to revive growth prospects. Foundational reforms, strengthening governance, cutting red tape, increasing female labor market participation, improving access to capital, they're all essential for growth. And even more so, are productivity-enhancing structural reforms and investment in human capital, the green and the digital transition. With artificial intelligence already upon us, coordination on global rules is as important as having the technology and the skills to tap into it. New efforts to promote and maintain open flows of goods and capital can build on what has worked to lift living standards in the past, while being mindful of the need to ensure that the benefits are widely and fairly shared. We are directing significant part of our research towards policies to enhance the growth prospects of our members, in particular those most severely impacted by exogenous shocks. And that brings me to the third priority, renewing our commitment to our membership. Over the last years, the fund has been there for our members when they need it as much as they need it. We provided over $300 billion in financial support to almost 100 countries. And as many of you have witnessed at the annual meetings in Marrakesh, our members gave us a strong vote of confidence by increasing our quota resources and injecting concessional funds into our poverty reduction and growth trust and our resilience and sustainability trust. And this month, I'm very pleased to tell you that we have reached our target of 25 billion SDR, this is around 30 billion US dollars, in precautionary balances, our own protection against financial risks. This financial strength allows us to play our role at the center of the global financial safety net at a time of exceptional uncertainty. And we will remain the transmission line for good policies, and for global economic cooperation. I want to finish with this. In a world of more frequent shocks, we know we will be tested again. And to quote Winston Churchill, this is no time for ease and comfort. It is time to dare and endure. And there we will, as we have done in the past years, to serve our members in the best possible way, tailored to their individual needs. We have seen somewhat slower accumulation of capital, and then the allocation of both labor and capital, not necessarily in the most impactful from a productivity standpoint way. As we are all aware, the last decades before the surge of inflation was time of very low, sometimes even negative interest rates. And a question arises, was that a factor that allowed firms that otherwise may have not been competitive to stay afloat? We have seen the way technology penetrates the economy, bringing some gains, but not the level of gaining that we thought we might see. And over the last years, there is a little bit of self-inflicted injury. Fragmentation means that what otherwise would have been more optimal allocation of capital may not be so. And these are, I also would say this, in many countries, aging populations, labor force that doesn't bring the dynamism that can help growth go up. In other words, we have multiple factors affecting productivity and growth. Among them, sometimes countries being shy to take forward reforms